If there's anything today's historians agree about when it comes to Amasa Leland Stanford, it's that he was a relatively unexceptional guy blessed with extraordinary timing. He was born in the spring of 1824 in Albany, New York, to parents who ran the Bull's Head Tavern, one of a number of such establishments near a toll road his grandfather helped build. When young Amasa Leland was 1 year old, he watched the completion of the Erie Canal right down the road. The canal connected New York State, and thereby New York City, to frontier settlements in the Midwest via a navigable waterway that ran through the western part of the state. It made New York City the premier commercial port of North America's East Coast, surpassing Boston and Philadelphia. For the Stanford family, the canal was a godsend. With an international business artery passing through their backyard, the toll road rest stop built by Lyman Stanford, Leland's grandfather, grew more prosperous in his son Josiah's hands. Amasa Leland was the fourth of 7 sons, and his parents could afford to keep their daydreaming boy in full-time education much longer than was typical at the time, even though he failed to distinguish himself academically. If there was one thing Leland, the large son of a second-generation barman, could do, it was drink. Born at the edge of a commercial frontier, Leland was a restless young man, moving from mediocre school to mediocre school, performing in accordance with his surroundings. Leland liked reading more than he liked working, and he didn't like reading all that much. He decided on a career in law, perhaps with a quick transition to politics, a professional path forever beloved by ambitious slackers. A politician needs a good name, and so Leland dropped the biblical Hebrew Amasa, which, fittingly, means burden. The frontier had lower standards than New York did, so he took the law books his father bought him and in 1848 moved to Port Washington, Wisconsin. After an apprenticeship, he opened his own law office, which suffered from his total lack of German language proficiency, given that German immigrants formed the bulk of the settler population. A run for district attorney on the progressive Whig line flopped. In 1850, he briefly returned to Albany to marry Jane Lathrop, a merchant's daughter from his hometown milieu. Back in Port Washington, Leland's office burned down, taking with it his law books and legal career, such as it was. Leland's life to that point, he was in his mid-20s, was a total loss. Despite the cosmic luck of being born alongside the Erie Canal, he'd squandered the little he put together. What he did have left was family, including 4 surviving brothers. He, scandalously, deposited his new wife back home and set out to join the rest of the Stanford boys in California. With his family's support, he took the ritziest of the 3 routes west, a ship down to British-occupied Nicaragua, an overland trek, and another boat up the continent's flank. Josiah Jr., Leland's eldest brother, was a 49er, and he discovered faster than others that for most men like him, there was more money to be made by selling shovels than by digging with them. By the time Leland made it out to California, his brothers had set up a modest but respectable commercial concern, centered on a shop in Sacramento. Last to arrive, Leland was sent to the barest frontier mining sites, where life was hard, margins were high, and men paid their tabs in gold, or credit backed by mining claims, which was also gold.